Alright guys, so yeah, welcome to the first in the new series, Get Ready With Me for Disaster. Now, obviously, everything that I'm going to be talking about in this series might not be relevant to you at all, but hopefully this will help newcomers to prepping, basically give you a good place to start. It's going to help me with my preps, and hopefully for other preppers, it's basically just going to reinforce that your preps are good and solid and in order. So yeah, socks, right. I class these as a critical prep. The importance of socks just cannot be reinforced enough. And I think it's an area which is overlooked a lot in general. I don't think a lot of people have the correct pairs of socks, especially with the type of shoes that they use. And I think a lot of people obviously suffer with not having the correct pairs of socks. And it's taken me a while and a bit of evolution and discovery in using different pairs of socks. But I've basically come to the conclusion of what socks I'm going to be using from now on every day for general use, every day for work, and what I'm going to be having on me for when shizzy hits the fizzy, disaster, any sort of situation where I want to ensure that every single article of clothing on me is going to be or could be the last article of clothing that I wear. So let's just go through these are basically all the types of socks that I have. Every single sock that's here, it'll be linked in the description below. It helps the channel a lot if you use those links, if you're buying from Amazon. Only works in Britain at the minute, but if enough people start using the British one, I'll open up the other Amazon stores. But so, with your number one prep being your physical preparedness, I have a lot of sports socks. Now these are very situation specific. These are just for working out. I will not be, and I don't encourage you to use any sort of bright or white sock if any sort of disaster happens or if you have to leave your home. Because you see people walking around with white socks and you notice that. So I consider these like anti-grey man. If you see somebody flashing white socks, that person stands out. Especially if your other articles of clothing are dark. So these are obviously good for working out, if you go to the gym or if you work out at home. But I would not use these for any sort of preparedness situation. And if I had a pair on and something happens, I would make sure that those are the first things that I get rid of. So the pairs of socks, the type of sock I was using for a very, very long time is this one. These were literally the only type of sock that I had. And these did me very, very, very well. And what I like about these ones is they're very tight around the ankle and the lower leg. These really have a good grip around you. They feel very, very tight. And I like that because I absolutely hate the feeling of socks falling down and then having to constantly pull them up again. Does my head in, and these did me very, very well. The only reason why I don't use these anymore is because the shoes that I was wearing, or that I am wearing for work, basically the heel wears through. The only downside to those shoes is that the heel wears through very quickly. When the heel on the shoe wears through, it basically just eats socks alive. So I must have gone through about, since starting work, I must have gone through about, 15, 20 pairs of these socks. Obviously, that's not very good from an economical point of view. And, it's just not good at all, really. Like, if you have a pair of socks and they're just being worn out by a type of shoe, you've either got to change the shoe, which I'm looking into at the minute, or change the sock and see if that makes a difference. So what I found was I tried these Goodyear socks, and these are thinner. These are thinner than these ones, but they have very similar qualities to them. And I found in the summer that these were good because they're much lighter. My feet weren't getting as warm, and I mean, that's the other thing. Socks play a huge role on your thermal comfort, which is other thing to consider, and which leads me on to future pairs of socks. But again, when using these with the socks with the shoes I use for work, these were just getting worn through very, very quickly, much quicker than the other pair because they're thinner. So, but apart from that, these are very, very good work socks. I mean, if your job isn't as physically demanding as what mine is, and you don't walk to and from work like I do, these are very good socks. So I would really recommend these Goodyear socks. Very good. So with the socks wearing out very quickly with the shoes I was wearing, and the shoes themselves, the point of failure was at the heel. I was going through a lot of pairs of the Black Hammer shoes, which I'll show you in the next video, and I was going through a lot of socks, which doesn't make sense financially. So what I found I was doing was I'm trying to find socks which basically say reinforced, protection with comfort, tough, anything with tough in the branding, durable, hard wearing. You know, those are the key words I was looking for. I haven't tried these socks yet, but I think these are pretty much going to be similar, very similar to the Goodyear. Yeah, so I was basically just looking for those. Anything that's branded as that, I was looking for. And I got a lot of these. These are very similar to the previous pair I just showed you. I haven't tried them on yet. I don't think I will. I think these are going to be reserved for other people. But very similar. You know, they say the same things. You know, reinforced, insulating, cushioned, reinforced at the heel and toe, hard wearing. Yeah. With the wrong pair of shoes though, it doesn't matter what this sort of says, they're going to wear out. And that's a really important point, guys. Make sure that your shoes work in tandem with your socks, and you have to find the right sock that goes with the right kind of footwear, and that's really important. So I heard a couple of other preppers mentioning these Dawn Tough hiking sock. I haven't tried these yet, but apparently they're very tough. They seem to be like quite thin, but I mean not too thin. They're definitely not as thick as my other walking socks. But apparently these are guaranteed for life. Yeah, I don't believe that. But importantly though, these have merino wool in them. And these are the mid-weight ones. I should really get the heavyweight ones, because what I found later about the next pair I'm going to show you, well, the next pairs. So I really need to get the heavyweight version of these, because I think the heavyweight is going to be the ones. But yeah, basically these got merino wool in them. 64% merino wool, 33% nylon, 3% lycra. I started looking at socks which have merino wool in them because I've had such a good experience with my base layer top that I use. I got that merino wool base layer top, and it's honestly the best article of clothing I've ever had in my life. And obviously when we get to the top, what you would wear on your arms and your top, when we get to those, obviously I'm going to show you that merino base layer. But yeah, so that led me to looking for socks with merino wool in them, because the characteristics of merino wool, how tough it is, and just basically the way that it helps your body regulate its temperature, I just find that like so good. I'm just trying to find every article of clothing has merino wool in it. So this has led me to socks with merino wool in. So like I said, I haven't tried these yet, but just like the characteristics of them: moisture wicking, thermoregulating, antimicrobial, and the comfort that they give you. Like I've found with the top, my merino wool top, I can wear that for a long time and it just doesn't smell. And I think that's going to be important for disasters, stuff hits the fan situations as well. So I will try these, but I don't think these will work well with my current shoes that I wear for work, but I think for a future pair, I think these will work well. So these 1000 mile, these are also merino wool. You're going to see this as a theme throughout this entire series, especially when I'm talking about clothing, merino wool. You're going to get sick of me hearing me talk about merino wool because I talk about it all the time. Again, it says padded, comfort, protection, and basically hard wearing. But these are probably about the same thickness as the Darn Tough ones. But I found that these work really, really well with the current shoes that I'm wearing for work, which are Black Hammer shoes. And I find that these ones haven't worn through yet, which is very important. They also, which is the other thing I found, is that socks play a big role on how much your shoes wear through as well. So basically what I found is that with these socks, and particularly the Bridgedale here, if you need walking socks, get Bridgedale, honestly, they're so good. And basically what that's led me to with this sock journey is that these are just the best. Now, this might not be for everybody, obviously. It depends. It really does depend on the shoes that you're wearing. Your shoes and your socks should basically be as one. And it's taken me a long time and many, many, many pairs of socks to actually discover that. So what I've discovered is these Bridgedales work well with the Black Hammer shoes that I wear for work. Obviously, I'm going to show you them in the next video, my footwear. But these work well for my walking shoes, my fell walking shoes, my boots, and they work very, very well with my work shoes. And I think that's important. Finding a sock which works across all different types of footwear that you have is going to be key. Because I basically wear these all the time now. Except for when I'm working out, obviously, because I've got my sports socks. But so when I'm at home, when I'm doing recreational things like fell walking, I'm wearing these. If I'm at work, I'm wearing these. Critically, if I'm in a disaster situation or I'm bugging out, I'm going to be wearing these. So basically what I've found is it's critical that the type of shoe that you have works with your sock. The sock also has a big effect on your shoe. Trying to find that balance takes time. But I'm hoping that maybe what I show you here helps you get to that point that I'm at now. Again, these have merino wool in them. These are 28% merino wool. And they've got lots of other things in them. But these have all the characteristics that I want in a sock. They are good around the ankle and the lower leg. Tight so that they don't fall down. They're very, very comfortable. They're good in warm and cold climate. They're tough, comfortable. Like I'm on my feet all day. And it's absolutely critical that my footwear and my socks support what I'm doing, you know. And I find that these do it. So basically I've came to these, and I would say the 1000 mile is definitely second. to these. I think probably Darn Tough midweight is going to be about the same as them. I still need to test them though. I think after that, my fallback would be my original ones, which I've used for a long time. They have a lot of the characteristics of all of these. It's just that I need to find a shoe or a boot that works better with these. Everything else, pretty much, I'm going to keep, but they're going to be for other people. So these are going to be what I use in disaster, everyday work, disaster. These, I still haven't tested these, but I've put them in the same sort of league as them, I think. These, and any sort of like tough workwear sock like these. These are all going to be reserved to give to other people. Because obviously that's a good thing about preparedness, you know. You can look after yourself, but you can also look after other people. And that's basically the other thing about this video series is it's going to prep you, but we can use what we do to prep ourselves to help others and have spare. But I mean, I could leave all this behind if I had to, you know. All this would be coming with me. Well, not as many pairs as this, obviously, but using the old prepper saying 1 is none, 2 is 1, I would obviously have at least 2 pairs in reserve with the current pair that I was wearing. So, you know, I've got these 2 here, Bridgedale, but I'm also wearing a pair, so that's my 3 pairs. Basically, it's going to revolve around 3. 1 that you've actively got on, and 2 in reserve. So that's it, guys. I hope I've given you something to think about. I know the video's gone on for quite a while, but it really just is so important. But I just think it's an area which is overlooked, but it's actually a very interesting area. It's quite a rabbit hole, really. And with there being so much choice out there, it's very hard to find the one that you land on. And, you know, for me, I started here, you know, this is getting better. I still wasn't there. And then I finally land on here. And then obviously this is in reverse now because this is my first preference, second, third. So, you know, it's like an evolution and it takes you a while to get there. But once you're there, then you're pretty much set. So thank you very much for watching, guys. This was the first in the Get Ready With Me for Disaster series. And that can be any disaster. So it's not just talking about, you know, what's happening currently. This is about preparedness in general. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. But if you give it a thumbs down, make sure you write a little comment about why. Subscribe, press that bell, and be safe and be prepared.